Crazy spring weather, crazy spring ideas. Let's get sprung.
Absolutely. Yeah, let's get sprung. Absolutely. You know what, Andy? I need to get a little sprung this morning. A good friend that we both know very well. We were at a fundraiser last night
Oh
together.
wow, what would you guys do?
Well, the Seroptimists of the Langleys, which I've been a 10-year member
Yes,
and do public
yeah,
awareness for,
yes, very much
at
so.
George Preston Arena, we had a Power of the Purse. And I think we've done this about 4 or 5 times. Can you imagine a room full of women with table after table after table after table of incredible purses from $5 to $50 and wallets and purses and events, and jewelry and live auction? It was a lot of fun.
And you raise lots of
And
money?
well, yes, we were hoping to raise, our target was $5,000 for the Langley Memorial Hospital Foundation. I think they rebranded to a community in there, and it's for their whatever it takes program to help people when you go to the hospital, the last minute, and maybe you didn't bring a coat or a pair of shoes,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
or you've had a baby come early to have that car seat. So that's what that money is used for.
fantastic,
And
fantastic.
and I'm also going to let you know these two people too. At the Seroptimist, we have an award called the Karen Wadler Ruby Award. And we award it to women in our communities that do good works, that champion women businesses or just champion the community. And Karen Long
Okay,
and Tara
yes,
James both were awarded that award last night.
fantastic. Yes, two very hard-working
Absolutely.
people, women in our Langley community that yeah I've known for quite a while and have always appreciated anything they've done because it's
Yeah.
always for the betterment of people living in the fort and Langley.
Absolutely. It was so gracious and so humbling to see both of them accept their award last night. So, and knowing how they take care of the community, that leads me to my next question, my friend. There is let's just say, a lot of inventory on the streets these days for
Yes,
people to take a look at. What
yes.
is that telling you? Where are we
Okay.
going with that?
So are you telling me to get onto the share?
You know me, I love how you explain the numbers because they don't make sense to me, but they make sense to you.
You bet. Okay, here we are. So let's take a look at our numbers and see where the marketplace is today and get some ideas of where we can go forward. So in the Fraser Valley real estate board, new listings increased by 22% in March
Wow.
to 3,800 listings overall. This is a decade high level with 9,219 active listings, and that's 49% above March of last year and 60% above the 10-year average. Sales are recorded at 1,036 sales in March, and that's up 13% from February.
Oh,
February was it was a difficult month, and it picked up a bit in March, but still 26% below from last year. So it recovered a little bit. It was, but it's still we're still below the average. Inventory, our overall sales to active listing ratio continues to signal a buyer's market with a
mhm.
ratio of 11%, and the market is considered to be balanced when the ratio is between 12 and 20%, and that's how many sales take place over a month to divided over by the active listings that we're seeing on the marketplace. So to put this in a bit better graphic picture, here we are. You can see March, 3,800 listings, 1,036 sales, up a little bit from February, but our inventory is climbing still. And then, of course, here is last year's March. So yes, inventory is up from last year. Sales are down from last year, but we're up a little bit from February, which means that we are seeing still
Look at that.
a flat market, but inventory again, in terms of months of inventory, is slightly up. It is creeping up, but we're not quite seeing the sales volume that we would like to see. And in that, then our
Hmm.
inventory is showing again very flat against because we had a bit of an uptick in sales, but where townhouses are below balance market. We're sitting right at the balance market for condos and detached homes are still above the balanced market. So it is still a marketplace in flux in the terms of where is it going, and we need to see where that is going with pricing here. A detached home, the home price index is sitting at 1,523,900, commas in the wrong spot. And that's actually up 0.5%, a half a percent. The townhomes are showing 833,700. It is down a half a percent, and condos are also down half a percent at 540,900. So pricing is relatively flat. We're not seeing any movement up or down. However, inventory is building, and like the marketplace where you have more inventory and less actual sales, then we start to see a decline in pricing, right? And at some point, we could very well see that. And also think about what's going on in our economy. Langley itself is condos are, again, inventory is down a bit, but we're still in a buyer's market territory. Townhomes inventory went up a bit, but well into buyer's territory. And detached homes inventory has come down a bit again, but it's months of inventory we're still in a buyer's market, and it's going to be like that for a bit. And of course, pricing hasn't really moved again. You can still see that 1,626,900 to 1,635,000 is about a $9,000 appreciation in price, which is not significant. Townhomes down 3,000 from to 865,100, and condos, the slightest bit uptick from 607,700 to 611,900. So again, we're pretty well seeing a flat market in terms of pricing, and it does show that we're there's like people are waiting to see what's going to happen. I was reading an article the other day. This is a buyer's market, but where are the buyers? And so, which I thought was very appropriate. So I'm going to stop my share here. And
I've got two questions, like right off the bat, my friend.
Okay, I'll get back in there. Yes.
Okay, no, you can stop sharing your screen because you can answer these questions off screen.
Okay, yep.
Two questions come to mind. Number one, when it comes to the price, when we kind of see that it's very even, that when I get an offer on my house, so when you're taking people out to, all this inventory to take a look, is the offer got to be sharp to the seller? Because when I see a little bit of an uptick, it's like, I want that property. I'm going to offer you the price that you want so I can have it. Are you seeing that, like, as you're taking a buyer out and you see all this inventory, that I'm not going to offer less because the market indicates pricing really hasn't changed a whole bunch? Is that something that if you find what you really love, you better just pay the price, move in, and start making memories?
Yeah, I understand your point. What you're saying, that if you do find the right home for you in this marketplace, what do? Are you going to try and negotiate down a huge amount because you feel that the market might drop another 2 or 3 or 5% in the next few months, and that you're going to be paying too much, and have the chance of losing the home that's going to work for you for the next 10, 20 years, and it's totally ideal. Like over that 20-year period, that extra 10 or 20 or $30,000 won't make a difference. However, what we're seeing is that sellers are not reducing their price. I've seen some price reductions coming out, say down in Yaletown. I'm seeing a lot of condominiums sitting there at $1,050,000, $1,075,000. They're going off the market and they're coming back on at $999, $989, because that $1 million price point is such a barrier for a lot of buyers that they won't look over there, and these listings that are slightly over are not getting the buyers to look at, or the offers. And if they do get offers, the offers are in the nines. So sellers really need to price their homes sharply, and they but a lot of them are really worried. I was at a listing appointment the other day, And we're talking the difference between 639,000, 679,000. That for them, they wanted to try that, but the market was showing that it's a really low $600,000 mark, and they're going to not catch those buyers that are going to come into the marketplace, and because they're going to say, well, maybe it's a little too high, we'll wait. We're not. I've got something else coming up, or let's go take a look at some more homes. We know that one's for sale. We don't have to make a quick judgment on it. There's a lot of things that are on buyers' minds that is not getting them to jump right in. I mean, the sales that we do see, yes, they could be homes that really work for those buyers, and they're buying them. But on the whole, we're seeing is there's a divide between buyers and sellers, in the sense that the sellers are at one level, they're kind of sticking there, and buyers are not reaching up for it. And so that as it comes down to that lower hanging fruit, then they're stepping in. Where the pricing is going to be, who knows? With what we're seeing with our U.S. neighbors, and the possibility of trade wars, that while trade wars are happening, how is that going to affect our marketplace? I don't know. But interest rates, that is one key, and we could see interest rates drop down some more. Depends how Bank of Canada views this. Do they want to see the fight inflation if inflation goes up because of the trade wars and the tariffs? So will they raise rates to fight inflation, or will they support the economy and lower rates in spite of that? It's something like what happened in COVID. They lowered the rates right down to support the economy. So that is probably a big key. And we'll see another interest rate announcement, I think next week, April 16th, I believe. And but I'm suspecting that one will probably hold steady.
So second question.
Yes.
Leading into what you just said and educated me, is now there is lots of inventory on the shelves or on the streets, very similarly priced. That thought process of there's got to be something better around the corner, something better around the corner, something better around the corner. Is buying on price gonna make the memories that person needs to have in that home?
Yeah. And that goes back to my previous comment that if you feel that you're all buyers will be feeling that they're overpaying at this point, but over the longer term, and if it works for you, just buy it, because if it works for you economically, financially, and in 10 years, 20 years, it will not matter. I can think of deals I did in the 90s where we went back and forth, and a condo that was like 650,000. We were going back and forth on $5,000, and I'm listing that same condo now for $1 million. How does that 5,000, factor in?
And what a memory to go into a home.
Yes.
With that is going, oh, this is what we did. And remember, we did this and this, instead of starting to make a memory. And a funny little story is when I was selling my home in Walnut Grove there at 216th and 95th area, and I think it's Bridal Falls development.
Yes.
The fellow that bought my home, and he came a couple of times, and he happens to be Manny Trevesh, a mortgage broker there in Langley. He came into the house, and we had 4 bedrooms upstairs, and it was the design where the bedrooms had window seats. And his one son went into the room and sat on the window seat, and he looked in and he said, "We're buying this house. We're buying this house because we can see him sitting there reading his books." He was a big reader, and there was a little alcove thing beside the closet that he was going to put a bookshelf in for his son's books. And he said, "Jeanette, this was our forever home. And we're buying the house, not on the price. We're buying it because we could see our family living here."
Yes.
Living here.
Yeah. And that's not to say that you're going to still negotiate the best possible price. You are. I mean, that's not what we're saying. But don't let it go if you can see your son sitting on the window bench and that this is the perfect home for you.
So negotiate on price that connects to fabulous memories.
Yeah. Connect. Yes. Connect to those memories. Yes. Very good.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Andy, you are such a wealth of knowledge. We know we live in the most incredible area, Langley, the anomaly of the numbers, as you continue to show us. And it's such a beautiful place to raise a family, create memories, attend amazing events. and just be an amazing citizen of either the township or the city of Langley.
Well,
It definitely pays off in the end.
thank you, Jeanette. Thank you very much.
And I will see you next month.
Okay, well, thank you. And yes, we'll see you guys all next month. Have a great time.